Hi everyone, and welcome to our Code4Kids course powered by SkillUp. Today we will be looking at the Code.org course, and we are on lesson number 3. We hope you enjoy this course, and we hope that you are able to explore some of the questions that we posed with your kids. This lesson is looking at, still on course D on Code.org, looking at lesson number 7 and 8. And the course builds on the understanding of loops from the previous lessons. And once we get into Code.org lesson 7, it gives students a chance to become really creative. The activity doubles as a debugging exercise for extra problem-solving practice. So we really do encourage you to ask them questions, to use the Socratic method. So when they're stuck, ask them a question based on the problem that they're stuck. How would you solve it? Where have you tried? Encourage the pair programming. We really want you to encourage that they chat to one another, they try and solve each other's problems. And whenever you go over to hear their problem, make sure they can explain exactly the problem in words. It's a really important skill for learners to understand, that they can explain the problem clearly and in words. All right, so let's go to activity 1, a nice interactive activity. And activity 1 and 2, there's shapes and loops in songs. And then we'll go across to Code.org. So in this activity, they just have to complete the pattern until they see 3 of the different loops. So that's what we're trying to get at. Remember, loops is a repeated action over and over again. So here, they can choose the outline color as black and the in color as blue. And then they would choose a rectangle and hopefully draw a square in that. So resize it and put it over there. This one we're missing an ellipse, so we need to draw that. And then the pattern would have been repeated twice. So thereafter, we need to have a square, a rectangle, that's orange, and then an ellipse, that is blue. So they can carry on like that, and get them again to work together until they can see 3 of the loops. Then what we want you to do is to take a different color, maybe one that you haven't yet used, so we haven't used black, and then to circle the loop. So there would be a repeated action, so it goes square, circle. You can cross that out and you can write by 3. Okay, and here as well, so you would cross that out there, you cross that out with another ellipse, and then you can say that by 3. On this one here, there's 4 shapes in the completed shape, and you have to carry on there and then there as well. So we're just identifying which ones are the repeated patterns and when have we got 3 in a row. So we are grouping the loops. The next activity, they do the same thing with this song. So what we've got here is we are clap, 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 touch your nose, click, touch your nose, click, clap, clap, clap. Left arm up, right arm up, left arm up, right arm up. And that chorus, should we say, is repeated again. So get them to physically do this. It's nice and exciting for them, and it's quite a fun activity to do. And then how are they going to put this into loops? So here we can do that, cross those out, and just say times 3. Touch your nose and click, touch your nose and click. So that can go away, cross that out by 2. And the clap would be the same as above. Left arm up, right arm up would be the same as above. This whole thing we don't need. And then we've got all of the chorus times by 2. And what you really need to encourage your learners to see is that it's the exact same thing. Even though we've written it a different way, even though we've said clap times 3, touch your nose and click times 2, clap times 3, left arm up, right arm up times 2, and repeat, you're going to come out with the exact same song. And that's what loops is helping us do. It's helping us to cut down on that unnecessary code. And so what this is an example of is actually a nested loop. So we've got loops in here and a loop in here where we'd say repeat times 2, a loop over here, and then the whole thing would be a nested loop. And we're going to get into that in lesson number 8. So we can go across to Code.org. That should take about 10 minutes. Your introduction should take about 10 minutes. All right, and we're going to sign in or open Code.org if you're joining for the first time. That shouldn't be any of your learners. And you're going to go to course D. You're going to view your course. because learners may be in different places. And we're going to start off with lesson number 7, drawing shapes in loops. So this activity, as we said, it's a really nice one. It's super interactive, but it is quick. So they can watch this video. Remember, you can watch it in the full screen. You can watch it in YouTube if it doesn't play in here. And then you can do one activity with them if you decide to do lesson number 2 together. And they want us to help the artist cover his flowers before winter, moving the block forward. So if it's already a set width of 60 pixels, it's literally just a move forward by 60 pixels. Done. Do encourage them to show the code. Remember, there's this play button, show code. Pen width 60, move forward by 60. So here we've got an object in there. We'll continue, and so here they've set the width, and we're going to move forward 5 times. So it says step forward 5 times. So if your learners can start by saying, okay, we're going to move 1, 2, 3. Oh, but we want to change the random color in between. There we go. But now what you need to show them is that, and hopefully some of them will pick it up, is that we're going to have our loops here. So from the last lesson, we can remove all of that. Where do we see repeated code? Well, all of this block is repeated code. Put that back in there. We're going to move that into there, and we need 5 of them. Okay, so just showing them how loops really make it a lot easier. Okay, and then learners can go all the way across. It doesn't take them long. This doesn't get very hard. They can plug in and listen to the videos, or you can choose to play the videos on the big screen. I think that's the last video for this lesson. And then we move on to lesson number 8, nested loops. In this online activity, students will have the opportunity to really push their understanding of loops onto a whole new level. So we're playing with bee and plants versus the zombies, and students will learn how to program a loop inside another loop. They're also encouraged to figure out how little changes in either loop will affect their program. So remember, we've always got this workspace block and how many blocks that you're using. So we try and get to the number of blocks that it's out of, so as to use less. So here we're going to move forward and then get the nectar, and move forward and get the nectar. So that was correct, although Anna wrote the 5 lines of code, although I do see here where I could have had a loop. So if I get rid of that, I can have a loop here, repeat it twice, and move forward, get nectar, delete that, and that should be the same. So after those 2 introductions just to loops, we get on to nested loops. And so after the video introduces nested loops, students are shown an example and asked to predict what will happen when a loop is put inside another loop. And this progression just leads into plenty of practice for the learners all the way along here, and it goes all the way up to number 13 and solidifies and builds on the understanding of the looping program. So we really do get into it, and the video explains it for them. And then they do a multiple choice question. So where you've got loops inside loops, and that is called a nested loop. What we encourage you to do is to take 10 minutes at the end of the lesson, or even just 5 minutes after they've completed lesson 8, or you may have to stop some of them early, and saying, what do loops do? How do we use them? Get them to answer those questions. And if they ever asked to use loops within loops, did you use loops within loops in your program? Yes, we did. We used a pink block within another pink block. So you can open up that conversation as well. All right, we hope you have an awesome lesson and you enjoy our Code4Kids lesson number 3. Have fun.